Hello and welcome everyone to the first DVD release of the new Penguins series. I'm Tim Hodge, executive producer, and I'm going to be giving you a commentary and hopefully not ruining your visual experience by talking over all the funny gags. This is episode called The Green-Eyed Monsters. Written, we'll find out in a moment. I believe this one was written by Robert Lee. Robert G. Lee, a favorite of one of our writers in Big Idea. He's done several VeggieTales episodes, starting with The Ballad of Little Joe, and he was a natural fit to the humor involved in Penguins. And here's our big emergency. Now, Michelle having room on the ship was a new development. Both the kids do. It was based on an idea early that we had that the kids were going to be stuck on the ship. It was going to be a fun plot element, I thought. It was going to be kind of a Gilligan's Island Lost in Space motif, with every week they were going to be trying to get home because the Gleasel was broken. And in that plot, Cavitus had the one part they needed, so their enemy was going to also be their rescue week after week after week. And but cooler heads prevailed, and we thought that we do need to see the cottage in each episode and have the prayer time at the end with Grandma. So there we have it. It went back to closer to the original motif. Yes, Todd Carter, another Big Idea regular storyboard artist, and he started directing for us in Penguins. And yes, this is Michelle's room, which is kind of this half moon shape, and the other half is Jason's room, as you can see. The idea is their rooms are somewhere in the middle of the ship. If you really do a strong calculation of space in the ship, you'll find out the ship is much bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. And we kind of pushed the realms of reality just so we could have more sets and more places to go, because we're realizing that if all the action takes place on the bridge, we're going to get bored pretty quick. Oh, and there's our friendly navigational system. You remember him. We've seen him lots of times. No, we haven't. It was written in the script just for this episode, and originally I thought, just reading in the script, that was just going to be some dial or display that we have already, and nothing really worked. And of course, we wanted it to sneeze and talk, so we had one of our artists, freelance artist, Cedar Constead, designed him as a character, and this is the only episode you will ever see him in. Navi, the navigator, that is.
I believe you have to phone it here.
A series of origami jokes. Which is, it's weird when you're having modelers halfway across the world create these origami shapes when they have no idea necessarily what the script is, because each artistic department doesn't necessarily know what haven't seen the storyboards. So we've drawn these pictures of these origami swans, and here it's supposed to look like a map, the star map folded into origami, and they've got no clue. So we went through a few rounds of making it look like a origami so the joke would read. Now Saul, the keeper of the Comet Lounge, is a new character for the series. And he did come out of the idea that I was talking about before, where we weren't going to be going back to the cottage. So we needed a voice of wisdom, to someone to dispense the proverb of the week, since Grandma wasn't going to be there. And so we came up with this soda fountain manager, Saul, like Solomon.
I never understand anything you say.
I know, I love that joke. Now this little scene right here, where Michelle turns her head to deliver her line, that was something that was added late, actually, because we realized as we were going through the storyboards that the peanut butter gag, which ends up being important to the plot, it wasn't really clear that they were loading up with peanut butter. We saw the bags of peanut butter going by, but it's like, that's not really clear. Nobody's going to get that they're loading up on peanut butter. So we had the actress that does Michelle record that line a little bit late. We had already actually done the animation, and since we didn't have any lip sync to go with, we made sure she was just turning her head, so we didn't have to actually do lip sync, and we could drop in any line we wanted. She could have said, you know, "My Mitchell, you look nice today." Now this is a kind of a dangerous gag to do, in that we're showing someone flip peanut butter on a TV screen, and we're hoping that nobody gets an idea to actually do that. So kids, if you're listening to this commentary and you just haven't gotten bored with it so far, please never, ever, ever flip peanut butter on your TV screen. It's funny on, you know, what for penguins, but no. Your parents will be horribly upset with you, and you'll be mowing the lawn a long time to pay for a new television, especially if you've got one of those LCD or plasma screens. Planet Picket. Yeah, we went back and forth about how to put that picket fence around it. You know, we thought, should it be a giant fence that sticks around the edge, you know, like, or should it float around like Saturn's rings? Ultimately, the Saturn ring type prevailed. And the classic Penguin's Landing. We didn't do it every episode like we did in the original 6 that were direct to DVD, just because we were strapped for screen time. Those episodes ran almost a full half hour. These we got trimmed are running about 22 minutes because we have to put in commercial time for television, of course. So we have to streamline our storytelling style. So repeating gags like showing landing gear eat up valuable screen time for story. And the story on the sheep here. We notice we have red sheep and we have blue sheep and one that's a little both. Well, when we wrote the script, we knew we needed 2 different species or factions of sheep. And, you know, on Earth we have white sheep and black sheep. But that's too usual. This is an interstellar location. It's a planet, so we have to have weird stuff. And notice their tails have little weird antenna things on them, too. But with that, how can we come up with 2 new colors, which, you know, there are millions to choose from, obviously. But, yeah, red and blue would be fun, because at the time we were still going to, you know, the red states and the blue states were still making headlines in the news. So, a you joke. Bob Lee loves puns, so a writer. So if you find an episode that is rife with puns, you can bet Bob Lee did it. He's great with them. Oh, and the one sheep that's both red and blue, we realized whichever sheep is going to be in charge can't be one side or the other, so we mixed his species thing.
Okay, here's my plan. We transport everything from Jason's...
This acting on Michelle right here is really, really great. I love the way she goes through her hand gestures and does her little body back and forth.
It would be fair for me.
And that smile. For me. Oh, she's great. I really appreciated that. And working with animators who are on the other side of the world, literally, and we're on an 11-hour time difference, the communication becomes rather tricky. So when I can get somebody who can pull off great acting like that without a lot of coaching, I really, really appreciate it. Especially, I never meet these guys face to face. And I mean, none of the directors do. I didn't direct this episode. Todd couldn't be here today. But as executive producer, I'm involved in just about every step on this. So if something goes wrong, it's my fault. So being executive producer means everything is your fault and you don't sleep much. Now that idea, the grass on the other side of the fence, that's how this plot idea started. Because when we knew we wanted to do a plot about envy, and we just start throwing ideas around like, what does envy mean? It means jealousy. It means you want something else, and you come up with all these phrases, common phrases that would embody that. I'm coming back to that. I've just noticed Michelle's got a sock there, and she doesn't wear socks, but she's worried about her socks getting eaten. But anyway, so you throw out phrases like, the grass is always green on the other side of the fence, things like that. Oh, that'd be a fun motif. Actually have a fence and grass on both sides. We could do a planet like that. And what creature would, of course, be jealous or envious of grass would be sheep. So the whole thing starts with a common phrase, and you build a whole plot around it. And then there is the green-eyed monster, the other common term for envy, which I believe is actually a Shakespeare phrase, if I remember by watching Penguins, you learn Shakespeare. So tell your parents it's educational.
It's just, they've got a problem over at them.
And the little communicator device was,
Hey, Kevin, go ahead.
we use that a lot in the new series. It was actually based on an old 50s transistor radio style. I had an old radio, and I took some photos of it and gave it to the designer. He was the freelance artist who was designing it, and he based a lot of his ideas on it. Of course, he changed it a lot, but we wanted that future retro look, which is what all Penguin's design is based on. The location here, the planet, the trees, this building itself were all designed by Phil Demetriadis, who's worked with VeggieTales for a long time. He works freelance with us now. He used to be an on-site artist. The characters, the new characters, the sheep and the green-eyed monster, were designed by Cedric Honstad, who you'll hear me talking a lot about Cedric, because he has done a lot of design work for us, a lot of characters, and just always comes up with the most fun and pleasing character designs. Check out his website. Yeah, counting sheep to go to sleep. I wish we could do more stories with this green-eyed monster. He was such a fun